Well, Gene Principe joins us for this edition of Game Keys as the Edmonton Oilers play host to the LA Kings, and it's a little bit of a fitting opponent tonight because it's King Leon being honored in a pregame ceremony in which he'll receive his golden stick for 1,000 NHL points. Leon versus the Kings, it's a story we've seen before.
Yeah, you know what? It seems a bit strange to wait this long for Edmonton to play the LA Kings. I mean, they have not played any of the California teams, and I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong, this season. They have yet to play San Jose. They've yet to play Anaheim.
Yep.
Right? And so it seems kind of strange, but it is appropriate that Leon and the Kings versus the Kings. It's weird, though, because you asked, Coach Knobloch was sort of asked about that connection to the Kings, Bob Stauffer.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, but that'd be more something that they would feel closer to the playoffs if that was going to be a matchup. I thought the coach nailed it. He said, everyone's trying to win right now in the Pacific Division. We've heard a lot about these really good teams that have not had really good seasons, and so the Pacific Division is, just sort of up for grabs, and Edmonton is one of those teams that wants to grab it. So it's more about tonight and trying to build off of what they did, versus Winnipeg, and try and continue what they hope will be a winning streak.
And the Oilers have a big opportunity this month to catch a lot of those points because they're at home for a bulk of it, including here tonight. Now, the most interesting thing about tonight, I find anyway, is that the Edmonton Oilers have yet to win 3 games in a row. In fact, you talk about the playoff series against the Kings. It was right before that, April 15, 2025, the last time they registered 3 consecutive victories. That's got to be some sort of an anomaly when your division leader hasn't won 3 in a row.
Yeah, for sure. Now, back to end last season, as Oiler fans know, they had so many injuries at the end, and they were just trying to plug in players, trying to save players for the playoffs. So it was a real different dynamic that, I haven't seen that since, you got to go back almost 20 years when Craig McTavish was the coach, and they were calling up people, who is this guy, right? And that wasn't the case last season.
Yeah.
People knew who they were, but they were just trying to get to the finish line so they could get to the start line of the playoffs. And I want to just circle back. I mean, we should talk about Leon, right? I mean, this is an amazing story. This is a kid from Cologne, Germany, as they say, they're Köln, as they would say in German. And, he comes over here, he hits the prairies. He's in the middle of winter in Prince Albert, and here he is, 1,000-point player. It's one of those stories that could be a movie or a book, because it just does not happen very often. And for him to have it happen in Edmonton, for you and I and Oiler fans to watch virtually every game, and to see this kid go from almost a Memorial Cup winner as he went from Prince Albert to Kelowna and then become an Oiler, not an easy start. To get to where he is, wonderful to have his family here and his Oma, 84-year-old Oma.
He said she's moving pretty well still.
Yeah. Well, which is great because Leon moves pretty well. His dad's here, his mom's here, his sister's here. This is really a lifetime achievement for a guy who still has a lot to play for.
Not only is his Oma defying limitations, but Leon Draisaitl, as you said, also defying limitations. I remember post-game in Pittsburgh after he reached 1,000, he talked about how young Leon growing up would have never fathomed 1,000 NHL points. Well, he's there, and congrats to number 29. But let's quickly talk about the opposition tonight. The challenges that the LA Kings bring, because an interesting fact about them, Gene, is in the first half of back-to-backs this season, they're 0-4-3. In the second half of back-to-backs, they're 4-1-1.
Yeah, the numbers that don't make sense. Can I say one more thing about Leon, if you don't mind?
It. This is the Leon Draisaitl show.
Well, I think it's important for kids out there to understand that Leon at 18 coming into this league, remember he was here for a bit and got sent back to juniors, which is, hard to think now that a 1,000-point player, a 50-plus goal scorer, an Art Ross trophy winner would have to be sent back to juniors. And he said it was really hard to be successful. And so he figured, what do I need to do? How do I need to train? How do I need to prepare? So that's a life lesson for kids out there who maybe don't get drafted or wondering, geez, this is really hard. Just because something's hard, that doesn't mean it's not achievable. Okay, that's Dr. Gene here.
That
for
was
a moment.
really good stuff.
The Kings, yeah, they don't make sense when it comes to the back-to-backs. Listen, Edmonton could have been the team that Winnipeg ended their losing streak against a couple of nights ago. You were there, down 3-1. It could have been a streak that finished against Edmonton, a streak that finishes last night versus LA after 11 straight losses. You knew Winnipeg was going to beat somebody at some point. It was the Kings. The Kings are, they don't have Anze Kopitar. We're waiting to see whether Corey Perry, who Oiler fans love, after not loving him for so long, will be in the lineup. And they're going through a bit of a tough stretch right now, and I think it's important for any teams in the Pacific or in the West to just kind of hang in there. Yeah. And maybe you don't have to win a bunch in a row, but you got to make sure you don't lose a bunch in a row to fall out of it. So it'll be an interesting matchup. The Kings will be fired up. They'll have the playoff losses more in their minds than the Oilers have the playoff wins in theirs.
Well, we came for game keys, but we stayed for Gene's wisdom on this Saturday afternoon.
You're more than
Thanks
welcome.
so much for dropping that wisdom on us, as it's the Oilers and the Kings right here tonight as we celebrate number 29.